it seems like, simplicity is always really difficult to achieve, especially because you need to really prioritize and leave only the essential features. And how do you inform, how do you decide, prioritize? What do you leave in the app, in the product?
Yeah, so for prioritization, it is important to, in the context of inclusion, I will just focus on inclusion in this case, if that's okay. But this applies to other features as well. It is important for inclusion to have that ongoing partnership with the community, with different groups, with people who know what they are talking about when they talk about disabilities. So and to focus, to make decisions about what you are not going to solve, what you will not tackle because it's too much. So what we did very early on, we decided we really wanted to make sure that step-free journeys are as good as they can be, and that we continuously improve those journeys, for instance. And that gave us a very clear steer. We also decided that digital design language needs to be so inclusive and so well designed that most people will not have to switch on assistive features. But if they do need those assistive features like dynamic type or voiceover, the design language will support those features and will be optimized to support those features. So these are really sort of easy decisions that can be made very early on. And they make prioritization then also quite straightforward, if that makes sense. So everything that's not falling into that framework will just not be done. So now, if you look at step-free journeys, you could do all sorts of things, and you do need to make some really clear decisions. So the approach that we're working from is getting the basics right first. So we first just made sure that the step-free of a station is easily accessible. It's as simple as that. You can see whether a station is step-free or not. The next priority then was not to just do a lot more, but to add another layer. And that layer was to make that step-free status of a station dynamic. So can we say the station is normally step-free, but right now it's not because the lift is out of service? So it's getting those kind of layers into place that make the experience better and better and more intelligent over time. When we prioritize accessibility features, it follows that logic. So the next layer now is about increasing the granularity of the information. So you have this very first layer of information. You know which stations are step-free. You know whether they are step-free right now. You know how to board a train from a platform. So do you need a manual ramp to be operated? Are there any gaps or steps you need to consider? Is there a designated point that you need to go to on the platform to find the right sort of door for the vehicle, and so forth. So these are detailed bits of data that we have included in the app. And the next step is to see whether there's anything else that's missing, and that might make it even easier for people to sort of navigate those journeys and so on. So it's like an onion, sort of, or it's like a layered cake. We're just adding layers and layers, but they have a logic to them, and they work, to improve the experience overall over time.
Yes, and it sounds like there is a really clear strategy that not just brings new features on top of each other, but evolves them and enriches them with time.
Exactly. So they build on each other and they enrich, like you say, and they make the features that already exist more intelligent. And that doesn't mean that those features don't have to be prioritized still against other features. Mm-hmm. But if you think about this as something that's ongoing, every time we do have the opportunity to make improvements, they will be made in that. So, with that sort of strategy in mind.